This week the Novritsch team sent me out their latest ghillie suit, which is available now, and for this episode I thought it'd be cool taking you from start to finish of me crafting it and getting it to work in my environment. Check it out.
So I've already inked this part. It's very subtle, but I'm just trying to get it kind of a muddy beige as opposed to this kind of bright white. Even on the mesh itself it's quite white, and on the tips of the leaves there's not too much white. It's not taking me that long of a time. I probably spent about 10-15 minutes on the reverse side, which doesn't have any bright whites. It's kind of like a dull cotton, which is grand compared to the whites there, which isn't too good.
This suit looks incredibly clean and pristine straight out of the bag, and of course this step is just about wrecking that and muddying it up and making it blend in a wee bit better.
So you can see the bits that I have painted, they've come up lovely in Alberny, which should match quite well with the Auburn colours. Obviously it's damp, so it will lighten up a wee bit, but that's no bad thing. It means that whenever these leaves are wet, hopefully they'll absorb moisture and end up looking more dark like wet leaves anyway, which is no bad thing.
Here's a comparison of the jacket straight out of the bag versus the pants that I've already inked. Please bear in mind that the pants are still wet, so they do appear a bit darker. You can simulate this effect by giving it a good mud bath.
So the top half of the suit here is pretty much finished. All I'm doing now, just to finish it off, is to dip the brush in quite thick. I won't run too much of it off. And I've got the suit all folded up kind of messily, and I'm doing random strokes just to get kind of random real dark bits in. So even though I'm calling it dark, it's pretty much the same consistency as maybe muddy water. The only difference between this and muddy water is this is slightly warmer. You can tell that there's a wee bit more red in it than dirt, which is pretty much just black brown. So this is why I've added this, and it's given me these lovely soft oranges and browns. It's getting late. I've done all the inking that I can. The suit's pretty damp with the ink. I'm going to let it dry overnight and have another look at it tomorrow, and I'll probably bring it back down to the local forest woodland just to have a wee look at it and see what else I need to do. It's important to always take a reference on each step, just in case you go way overboard on something, whether it be the wrong type of colours or too much of the colours or whatever. So yeah, let's see what happens. One more thing before I go. It's all very well leaving the ghillie suits down on the floor, but don't forget, a lot of time, for me anyway, I'm not lying down. I'm crouched down or I'm stood up against something. So just remember that. Don't set it down on the floor all the time. Hang it up. Flip me, what a glorious day. So the suit has dried out, which is good, and it's given me a more realistic look of what I was kind of like a wee bit worried that it was going over the top, bearing in mind that it was wet, so it will always look darker. But I'm glad it's toned down the whites. It hasn't changed it into like a dark brown or anything, but it's definitely not white anymore. Here's the rifle wrap, and it is very similar looking now. Now bear in mind I dipped the rifle wrap in some mud, so the mesh looks a wee bit different as well. But yeah, the rifle wrap was dipped in mud, but the problem with dipping it in mud is sometimes whenever it's been raining, the mud washes off and it goes bright again whenever it dries, whereas with the acrylic ink it should stay this kind of toned down. So with that stage now complete, the temptation is to carry on with the next stage. But what I'm going to do is take a quick trip to the forest and just check it out, make sure that the colours are okay.
It's important to test the ghillie suits at a distance as well as close up. Up close the colours look a wee bit weird, but as you can see as orange steps away, it does start to blend in very nicely.
Welcome. So the soot has dried and we're now out in the lovely forest. Warren at the minute has the suit on, and yeah, we're just gonna take it for a wee colour test. I've obviously toned it down with the acrylic inks, just a wee tiny touch, and it seems to be doing really well. So time to start the crafting. There's my chest rig and backpack there, and today we have some Novritsch leaves, some Novritsch raffia. I have dyed the lightest one down a wee touch just to help it blend in a wee bit better. Untouched is a wee bit too bright. And I have a mixing pot, Novritsch leaves, scissors. I've actually got a few things to craft today. I have the rifle wrap, which I coloured the other day. You might have seen on Instagram, but I've coloured it this green. So I'm going to work on the rifle wrap here quickly because this won't take too long. And Oren, on the other hand, is going to attach some natural veg to the suit before we do any crafting at all to it. What do you think, Oren?
Yeah, I think it's a good area. Get some ferns in.
Nice.
Get up a bit.
Nice, cool. Right, go and enjoy. So whilst Oren is away putting on the natural vegetation, I'm going to work on this rifle wrap, which shouldn't take me too long. This is the Novritsch rifle wrap in kind of multicam. The leaves are stronger than amber, and yeah, the colours are very neutral, which is dead on. However, here in Ireland, rather than me adding a whole load of green, I've decided just to paint some of these green. At the minute, it's very, very linear looking. So what I might do is trim some of these leaves off so it ditches that kind of linear pattern, and I'll try to add in some different colours. So I've got a mixing pot, I've got some raffia as well. I've also got Novritsch leaves, which he very kindly sent me out. I think the main thing is having an actual wrap, which is very, well, relatively quick to put on and off, and it means for my new SRS I don't have to paint it or tape it. I'm going to use this bad boy as my main wrap and just slide it on whenever I want to ghillie it up, or whenever I want to go like a kind of more tactical looking sniper, then I'll whip this off and leave it all black. So I've just mixed a really, really light green. What I'm doing is going over the darker leaves that I painted previously, and I'm just giving them little highlights. This will help simulate reflections, and also I'm spacing out my reflections or the highlighted leaves, so then hopefully it'll give the simulation that this is in one big line. So I'll do a few leaves and then I'll miss some. So just gotta wait for the greens to dry. It should tone down a wee bit as they dry. The multicam is just a wee bit too dull for my liking. That's why I've gone with the green, adding lots of green into it, and I've also added a wee bit of that there kind of autumnal brown, which actually looks a lot like my Flecktarn brown spray paint. So one of the things that I don't like particularly about the rifle wrap is that there's too many leaves on it. As you can see, the way it's sewn is quite nice, that it's put these ripples in it to kind of give it a bit of depth. However, there's just way too many of them and it looks like a line. And I'm worried that whenever I put it on the rifle, it'll also look like this line. So there's two ways to kind of disrupt this line. I can either go to a different color and maybe take out a leaf or two via color. However, I don't really like that. So what I've done is I've done the simple method of snipping some of the leaves off. So I've broken the line here, I've broken the line there, and I've broken the line there. Anything that I've snipped off I've kept, and I'll be able to reuse this hopefully in another part of the rifle. I'll be able to bend them, twist them, pinch them, and give them a nice 3D shape. I've done a few tests and you can see this kind of autumnal brown orange color all over the place, and you'll see that right through summer as well. So how do we look at a distance of about 10 meters with the rifle wrap? And it was looking pretty good. All the colors are quite neutral looking. They aren't too bright, they aren't too dark. And we are gonna highlight it with some cotton, fold it in a certain way and cut it really messily, so you get a really good shape. And what you wanna do is pinch it and get lots of shape to it. I've added a wee bit of cotton there and some raffia, and what I've noticed instantly is how big the mesh is on the Novritsch rifle wrap. It's really, really easy to get your cable tie, much easier than any of the other suits that I've worked on. It goes in really, really well. So one of the things that you can do, first of all, is just go along your suit and add in all the cable ties where you want them, and then come back and add the cotton or the raffia afterwards. Me, I'm just going to do it as I go along. And scrumple it up, give it a bit of texture. See the way that gives it plenty of shape. So this is the work that I've done on the rifle wrap so far. I've added loads of cotton, a little bit of raffia, and I've also added a wee bit of yellow to the leaves just to bring out the sort of vibrancy and that light green. And yeah, pretty happy with it. It's getting late in the day, so I'm going to do the rest at home. I've got a good idea of the colours already, so I'll just duplicate what I have done back in the office or in the house. So this is the next day. So we've added our cotton, we've added our raffia, we've used some ghost hood material. What else? We've used some of my leaves, some of Novritsch's leaves, and it seems to be going quite well. It's quite weird for me because obviously I'm used to the KMCS and the KMCS brown, the KMCS green, and this is totally new concept to me, the same as the con camo poncho. It took me a wee while with the con camo poncho to kind of get used to it and to kind of work out how that works and where's best to hide. So Oren is obviously a beginner airsofter and a beginner ghillier,
and now he's a beginner hider, so I've asked him to run about and hide here, so we'll see if we can find him.
I'm out here with AKA Staten, and it's the first time I'm wearing a ghillie suit and AKA is behind the camera. Normally, as you know, it's all the way around. I'm getting a bigger awareness of hiding, because if you watch the other YouTube video, the challenge that we did, I had to do a rifle. But with the ghillie suit and being out in the field, I'm able to see how to hide, what shapes to take, and it's very, very interesting. And it gives me a greater perspective of what AKA Staten does when he's actually on field and he's hiding, and how long he has to hold the pose for. So what I'm figuring out is, okay, it's great to hide, but make sure that I'm comfortable with hiding, because I could possibly be there for a long time. But the suit's really well, and AKA Staten is going to add some things onto it now, and we're going to see some more shots.
So one of the things I want to show you about the suit and my crafting of the suit. One, I've done very little of the legs, but that's just pure laziness and actually running out of time, but I will do it. But the front has very little on it. Little to nothing. There's a few wee bits of cotton, but nothing in comparison to the arms and the head. So that's the hood. And the reason for that is because I wear a chest rig, which kind of covers this whole front section, and it also has a dangler down to here. And on the back I have my backpack hydro pack, which gives me a lovely big bump, but it's also crafted. And yeah, orange showing where it kind of comes down to on me, showing some of the natural vegetation we've added here. We have added dead fern mainly, some type of ivy and dead fern. And how I've done that is I've stuck it in upright, and it's actually starting to fall down, and hopefully that'll give him loads of bulk whenever he's hiding. He was hiding earlier without any natural vegetation, and now he has extra vegetation. Let's see how well he does. going to cut it there. I've got loads more to say about the suit. This week's episode was just showing you the day-to-day crafting that we had to do and the work and the length of time that it took. So it took us really about 3 days to kind of get the suit to that kind of standard. Obviously we weren't working from 9 o'clock in the morning to 5 o'clock or 9 o'clock at night. We were just doing a couple of hours here and a couple of hours there. The first day, for example, it only took me about an hour to do all the inking that I wanted to do. We showed you some of the results that we got, so please in the comments let us know what you think of the suit. Are you going to get it? Is there anything that I should have done differently? Do you want to see me do anything with the suit in particular? Because next week I'm going to be doing an in-depth review on the suit and I'll be telling you whether I think it's worth it. The suit has a lot of pros and cons, so join me next week and I'll go over everything. Like I said, now is your opportunity. Leave a comment or DM me and let me know any questions that you have or anything you want to see in next week's video regards the suit. It's getting really late. I appreciate this is a long video. We have been working really hard on this episode. I hope you have enjoyed it. Novritsch team, thank you very much, and in particular Dan, thanks for reaching out and sending out the suit. It's been really fun getting back into the whole Ghillie thing. I obviously have my suit, so I haven't crafted in like dear knows how long. So thank you very much, really appreciate it. Guys, enjoy, stay safe, and peace.